Hello, my beautiful people. It's been a minute, but today we're gonna learn more about the ELK stack and specifically how to connect forms from ODK Central into the ELK stack. Now, for this, we need a lot of components. We need ODK Collect, ODK Central, we need forms, we need to already transform the forms from Excel to XML, and then we need the ELK stack installed, and we need Postman, and of course we need the API website for the ODK Central. So let's get started. We're onto our terminal into our server from the ELK stack for ArcAM. And in here, we're gonna go to the etc folder, which is probably the most important folder of the whole project, in where we have all the configuration files from the ELK stack. We're gonna go into logstash directory. Oops. What? That was so weird. Okay, we're back on track now. So now the most important directory in here for us to filter information is the confd directory. And let's go to our ODK in order to understand what is happening. Okay, let's go to ODK Central, running here. If we go to the general projects, we're gonna go to EF Livia. And in EF Livia, we have all these beautiful forms, but we're specifically gonna construct the forms from client tools. In client tools, we have already one submission because it's important that we have one submission. Then we download that record in order to pay a better look at all the fields that our form has, which are all those forms, which we'll see in a bit. Okay, now that we're there, we're gonna create a client-tool.conf file, and the naming conventions that I have adopted is to, across everything, put just the same name that's related to the form. And it's important, because you want to know which CSV files is related to which form. So every single CSV and form is going to be named like that, even every tag. So here for the input, we have the exact plugin in which we create a command, and this specific URL right here, we're going to debug it from Postman and the API of ODK Central, which we find right here. So if you go through this beautiful API, we go to submissions, we export from submissions to CSV, and it tells us exactly what we do in order to get what specific data, because remember, an API is a set of instructions that tells you how to gain specific data from a specific website. So therefore, in this case, we're gonna receive a CSV file that's gonna be zipped on a folder and a 200 response. Otherwise, we get all this explanation of what happens if we did something wrong. So basically, we need to find these red letters over here are specific to our form, which in this case is index number 5, and client tool, the name of the form. Then we type submissions, and as you can see, that one submission that we had before in our Excel file right here is that specific one over there. So let's go back to a terminal, and we have all this beautiful line. I'm not gonna go through that because I feel like it will mess up some of our security if people know how to access our server and stuff. So I'm gonna skip into the second line. So the previous line, what it basically did, it retrieved a CSV files, which we're gonna unlock, and we're gonna remain the same naming conventions. We're gonna do this same command for 30-second intervals. The codec is basically saying for every next line that is in this file, we're gonna create a new line, which is which is like a new content. And we're gonna tag all this under client tool, like I said, same naming conventions. Then we're gonna use a filter here. And in this case, we used .if just because if we had multiple execs, which means multiple forms, it will be abided to the name of the tag in order to create the specific command after. So all these forms, all these fields are directly the same as this naming convention here. Make sure they're exactly the same, make sure they have commas, make sure they have the quotations, and then we have this very beautiful command skip header because we don't want the header of the CSV to be involved with our data that gets sent to the Elasticsearch. And then in the convert, we can convert any single field up above to integer, which I haven't done for this form just yet, but I should do it later. And here we're from mutate to date, we're specifically saying to remove specific things on our data that we don't really want to see. And in our date, we're just making sure that the submission date is in ISO 86014 form. And then in here, the output, which is the most, like, everything in this form is, everything in this configuration file is important, but nothing will work unless we create the output for the Elasticsearch, in which we involved our host name, and then we have naming conventions for the index. Everything has to be in lowercase. It doesn't accept any uppercase. And that's pretty much it for today's video. I'm gonna follow with another video on how to run this file in order for it to get uploaded, and we're gonna end up doing a very beautiful graph in Kibana. So stay tuned.